if you can hear me clearly, if my voice is clear enough, kindly type in yes. Um, just keep on typing yes. Oh yeah, there you go. They can hear me. So I just want to say hi to our attendees. Hi, Stephanie. Hi, Cyril. Hi, Pabudu. Hi, Darpita. Thank you so much for joining in today's webinar. Hi, Neka. Hello, welcome. So hi, Darpita. Hi, Ganwara. Hello. Hello. Hi, Giri. So welcome. Hi, Buwanika. Welcome in today's webinar. If you have said yes that you can hear me, now I would like you to type in yes if you can see my screen. So it's showing now the free webinar cover page of our presentation. So if you could please type in yes that you can see my screen. Oh yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for saying yes. Yeah. All right. Um, Now let's have a little bit of interaction with our attendees. If you can type in from what country are you from? So we can have a brief idea of where our audiences are coming from right now. Oh, here we go. We have from India, we have from Philippines, we have from Sri Lanka, we have from Oman. Wow, that's a lot. We're all over the world. That's really good to see. Nepal. Oh, wow. That's nice. Welcome. Welcome to everyone. Thank you. South Africa. We also have from South Africa. That's really interesting. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining from Oman. So that's from the Middle East, I suppose. Uh, wow. Thank you. Thank you so much for giving us your precious time and for attending. And I think since you can hear me and you can see my screen, it's about time for me to read a little of house rules while we're doing this webinar session. So please be informed that one of the reasons why this webinar is made possible because we have been really receiving a lot of questions from nurses all over the world on how to be a registered nurse here in New Zealand. So this is one of our way of letting you know and giving you information on how to start your journey in pursuing on how to be a registered nurse here in New Zealand. So that's why this webinar is happening right now. Just take note that there will be a Q&A box. So later on, we will have a Q&A live portion. So please make sure you type in your question in that Q&A box. So instead of typing it in the chat box, type it in on the Q&A box, and we will be picking one question at a time later on at the live Q&A portion. Okay? Okay. Are you guys ready to start? Thank you for joining. Okay, they just keep on joining in. That's really good to see. So I'll continue. Before we officially start today's webinar live session, let me introduce myself. So I am Leah Howe. I am a legal assistant of Immigration Advisors New Zealand, and I am your host for today's webinar. I am based here also in Auckland, New Zealand. Okay. But before we head on in today's topics and what will be tackled in today's webinar, please allow me to introduce to you our company. So who are we? We are Immigration Advisors New Zealand Limited, and we are an Education New Zealand recognized agency, and we have been liaising with education providers here in New Zealand. We also have a group of 7 licensed immigration advisors. We are licensed by Immigration Advisors Authority, and we have a 20 plus years experience in education industry and 10 plus years experience in immigration industry. We are also a New Zealand-based organization, which is why we will have the local knowledge and support for everyone or for all our clients who are planning to migrate here. And we are proudly to say that we have already successfully served 6,000 plus clients. And we are also the most reviewed immigration advisors here in New Zealand. All right. I hope that made you excited a bit to stay further in this today's webinar. So with that said, Please allow me to quickly read the points that we will be discussing in today's webinar. So one of the things that you will learn today is to get to know more about the CAP course, the process, the job, and future pathways if you take the CAP. So also you will get to know the CAP intake dates and the seat availability, also the prerequisites to enroll for the CAP program, Nursing Council New Zealand letter to apply for the CAP program, the work experience requirement, what is the English language requirement, and of course, employment opportunities, and option to take your family along, as well as border exemption. Okay, all right. Now, I will not keep you on waiting. So let me allow you to introduce to you our very special speaker for today. So in today's session, we will be joined by a senior licensed immigration advisor. She herself was a migrant and has a rare set of skill match, which could be considered ideal for a licensed immigration advisor. She was a school counselor from 1996 to 2006, a role in which she was a natural fit due to her caring and nurturing personality. Her earnest journey as fully licensed immigration advisor for New Zealand began in 2014, and she considers herself blessed to have the background and the skills that allow her as an immigration advisor to effortlessly visualize herself in the client's situation, understand their needs and problems, and use her knowledge and experience and expertise to help to find a solution for it. I am also proud to say that she is also currently the board of New Zealand Association of Migration and Investment, NZAMI, and was the part of Immigration Advisors Authority referral group for 2016. It is my pleasure to introduce to you all Immigration Advisors New Zealand Limited Director and Senior Licensed Immigration Advisor, Miss Vandana Rai. Hi, Vandana. Kindly say hi to our viewers.
Hi, Leah. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the session today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Vandana. So I will not keep our attendees waiting. I will hand the floor to you.
Thank you so much, Leah.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone, for taking out time and being here. So we will try and give you as much information and as much clarity to your process of relocating to New Zealand as a registered nurse as possible. So to begin with, what are the planning parameters for the CAP offer letter? So the first step for you to move to New Zealand as a registered nurse starts off with you getting admission for a CAP program. So what is it that really makes you eligible for the same? So the first step, you need to have a decision letter from Nursing Council of New Zealand. So that is definitely the first step. And there are some prerequisites, some eligibility criteria that you have to meet before the NCNZ, that is the Nursing Council of New Zealand, could give you this decision letter. First requirement has to be a bachelor's degree in nursing. So a lot of nurses would have a diploma in nursing. A lot others would have a bachelor's in nursing. So one of the prerequisites is that you should have a bachelor's of nursing. You should be a registered nurse practicing in the country that you have the registration for. So you could be working in any country. You should have the registration to work there and a bachelor's of nursing. And you should also have a 2 years of work experience within the last 5 years and meet the English language requirement. So what is the English language requirement? The English language requirement is 7 bands in each module or an average of a B score in OET. So if you have all of these, definitely you could consider moving on and working towards your registration in New Zealand as well. Then there are some specific requirements for a CAP offer letter as well. So just give me a sec, please. Sorry for that. So some specific language requirements, your history of work experience would be required as well. You need to meet the health and immunization records. So all these are some specific requirement which is needed for you to secure an offer for CAP as well. We do have a lot of queries from people who may not have a bachelor's in nursing, a lot of you who may not meet the 2 years requirement of work experience, or would be struggling to get the English language requirement. So that means that you may not qualify straight away to move to New Zealand through a CAP program. So don't lose hope there. Still get in touch, because there could be an alternate route for you to get your registration, nursing registration here in New Zealand. It could be by way of any other program other than the CAP, because this session is primarily only for CAP, so we are not covering those in detail. But yes, if you are not meeting one of these requirements and you're falling short, there could be an alternate plan for you. So please get in touch for the same as well. So Leah, if you can move on to the next slide, please. Yeah. So the first step, you got the nursing council decision letter, you got the CAP offer letter. Then what? How do you move to New Zealand? How do you start your program? How do you get yourself registered? So you need to enter New Zealand on a valid visa that allows you to study the CAP program. For that, you would need to meet the immigration requirements. What are these? So you need to have a valid visa to study the CAP program. When the borders were open, a nurse could come on a visitor visa to study a CAP program, but New Zealand borders have been closed for last 2 years. That means that some exemptions have to be applied for. Border exemption is the first process, and then you would need to apply for a critical purpose visitor visa to enroll for this CAP program. And we as immigration advisors would definitely assist you in the entire process. So we assist clients from the first step onwards. If you need assistance with the decision letter, need assistance with the CAP offer letter, and now comes the immigration part. So you need to come on a critical purpose visitor visa, which allows you to move to New Zealand. Even when the borders are closed, you could travel to New Zealand. Another good thing about this visa is that it gives you an option to travel with your family. At times, nurses would want to relocate together with their partners, with their kids. So definitely, if you want to travel with your family, that option definitely is there. Currently, New Zealand borders are closed, and one has to secure an MIQ booking, self-isolate in one of the approved locations for 7 days. And this is likely to go off from 13th of February. So 13th of February is the last date somebody would have to secure an MIQ slot to come. So that is a really good news which we got this week. What that really means is that that saves a lot of the money. It saves a lot of the stress in securing a place for MIQ, and the transition and the relocation could be easier. So when you get your offer of place, when you get your visa approved, you can easily travel to New Zealand. Don't have to worry about the MIQ booking. That happens after Feb 2022. And there are some financial requirements that you have to meet. Financial requirements in the sense that you're coming here for a CAP program. You're coming here on a visitor visa. You need to have enough funds to pay the school fees. You should have enough funds to cater for your living cost while you are studying, because visitor visa would not give you work rights. So while you are studying, you just have to study and you can live in New Zealand. You do not have work rights while you are studying. So definitely you should have enough funds so that you cater for all your financial requirements. Few things that I keep getting from clients, or the issues that clients face. So I'll quickly let you know. If you are planning to travel with your family, and if your partner is in some other country working and you are in some other country working, don't stress. Definitely, again, traveling together to New Zealand would still be possible if you've had some period of separation in between. Immigration New Zealand would like to be sure of the genuine and stable relationship for your partner's visa to be granted. So if you've been in a genuine relationship, if you've been married, but due to this COVID or due to work commitments, you are currently living in different countries, there is a way out. Don't worry on those grounds then. Yeah, so that was the information that I wanted to give on. We'll cover more of the immigration questions as we move on. Okay, so the first visa that you enter New Zealand is would be a critical purpose visa to do the CAP program. But what next? This is the question that we keep getting. What after this visa? So definitely, once you finish your CAP program, once the registration, you get your nursing registration, you get a job offer as a registered nurse, you can apply for a work visa that's called an essential skills work visa that allows you to work in New Zealand lawfully. You would get 3 years of work visa. Your family continues to stay with you if they're here. If your family is still overseas, they can now, when you get this work visa, they can come on a partnership-based work visa. Kids can come on a dependent child student visa or a visitor visa, depending upon their age. So while you work lawfully in New Zealand, your partner gets a work visa as well if you've been in a genuine and stable relationship. Your kids can study for free if they're aged 5 and above. That's a dependent child student visa. And the kids younger than 5 years get a dependent child visitor visa. Again, the family can be together here. That was one option. And the second option, definitely the residence visa. So prior to the recent announcement that we heard on the 29th of September 2021, one option was of a residence visa under the skilled migrant category. But now one of the greatest benefit is the 2021 residence visa, which was announced on the 29th of September 2021. Leah, if you can move on to the next slide, please. Yeah, so the best part, which I had kept for the last slide, the best part is you come here on a critical purpose visitor visa to enroll for the CAP program. But the best thing is if you enter New Zealand on a critical purpose visitor visa, you enter New Zealand before July 2022, then 31st July 2022 is the last date you can apply for residence visa straight away and after entering New Zealand. So how it really works is the requirement for that is that you should be on a critical purpose visitor visa before this date of 31st July 2022. And even while you are studying your CAP program, even while you are still waiting for your nursing registration, or even if you've not yet got the job offer as a registered nurse and your registration is in the process, you could still apply for this one-off residence visa. So this is just one of the one-off opportunity which New Zealand government has given to a lot of migrants to support the employers and the business and in this stressful time. And all the health professionals, all the nurses entering New Zealand on a critical purpose visitor visa also get this benefit. So definitely that is something, if you're planning to get New Zealand nursing registration, it would make more sense to prepone your plans. Even if your plan was to come a little later in the year, you must keep that date in mind, because this really gives you a one-off opportunity which you would probably not get anytime later. Yeah, that's it from me, Leah. I can take questions later on when we have the immigration specific questions.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Vandana, for that very informative presentation. So to our viewers, please stay and hang on there, because we will now be calling our guest school or guest speakers from a school that we are partner with for the CAP program. So thank you so much for staying up to this stage, and I hope we will see you and we will be with you until the end. So just stay there, just listen and participate in the presentation. So without further ado, I will be calling on to Carrie Clark and Lauren Lee. We will be joined by both of them. So Carrie Clark is the International Market Manager of Manukau Institute of Technology, and Lauren Lee is the International Student Advisor for CAP program. So Carrie and Lauren, I'll be giving the floor to you for our Q&A portion that we have picked specific question that will be asked to both of you, and you can answer one at a time. So I'll be answering the questions. I'll be asking you the questions and you can give the answer. But before we start, is there any message that you would like to tell our attendees today?
Kia ora everybody, my name is Kerry Clark and I work at Manukau Institute of Technology. It's a role that I've held for a long time and it's a role that I have always enjoyed, and one of the reasons is it's a great opportunity for us to work with people like Vandana and Himanshu. We've worked with both Vandana and Himanshu for a number of years and have been very lucky to meet them both originally in India and more often now in New Zealand. We regard the relationship as a very important one for us as a school, particularly in the area of CAT, because it is an area where there is a strong need for expert advice, particularly now during COVID, because the requirement for the visa is so specialised. So we don't, as a school, accept applications that come through to us directly. And the main reason for that is because the chance of a student not being successful in their visa process was too high. So our preference is to only work with licensed immigration advisors, and immigration advisors are a key relationship for us. We were very lucky to have Vandana participate with us when we had a careers event at Manukau Institute of Technology recently. We only had 2 advisors there at that time. So we're very grateful for the support that we get back. So it's really lovely to have that opportunity. And maybe what I can do is just also introduce my colleague, Lauren Lee, and maybe just ask Lauren if she can speak a little bit.
Kia ora everyone, my name is Lauren. I'm an international student advisor here at MIT. I look after CAP applications. So if you guys have any question regarding application, feel free to ask, and I'm here to help with those questions. Thank you. Thank you for having us tonight.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
So I was just going to say, very important
ahead,
person, because Lauren has all the answers to the technical questions. So we're really grateful to have Lauren here today. But yeah, sorry to interrupt you, Lee, and we're welcome to go through to the questions if that's what you'd like to do.
Sure. Thank you so much, Kerry, and Lauren. Thank you so much also for being with us tonight here in this webinar. So we will not keep them waiting. We can proceed now to the Q&A portion with MIT. All right, for the first question, why is CAP course required for overseas practicing nurses?
It's there for Nursing Council to ensure that the nurses that we have in our health system have current knowledge of nursing practice in New Zealand. So it applies to international nurses who may hold registration in another country. It also applies to New Zealand nurses who, for different reasons, may not have a current practicing certificate. So it is a requirement for every nurse in every health situation in New Zealand.
All right. Thank you so much for that answer, Kerry. I will now proceed to the second question. So what are the key differences in the nurse practice in New Zealand?
I think some of the feedback that we have from students, and that's often what we base these conversations on, is that the requirement for students to act independently. So there's a requirement for them to have, a high level of knowledge in terms of nursing, but there's also a really high requirement in how that nursing knowledge is applied. There also needs to be a really strong understanding around communication, both within the teams in the health setting, but also with patient care. We have a commitment in New Zealand to the Treaty of Waitangi. So there is a very strong cultural focus in what our health system is designed to deliver. So our nurses are regarded as key and often senior professionals in our health system. So it's a very, very important role for New Zealand. And obviously with COVID and the impact that COVID has had across the country, it's become an even more critical role in terms of how we look after people in our country.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Carrie. Very well answered for that question. I'll proceed now to question number 3. So why is English language skill are critical? So actually, this is one of the most commonly questions. So why is English language a main requirement for taking the CAP program?
I think what we would say is that it really is about that ability to communicate, and English is obviously the language that we use in New Zealand. It is our most common language. But having other language skills, we would also like to acknowledge, is important for us, and having that other cultural knowledge is important for us. But it is necessary in a health setting to be able to communicate in English. Often in nursing, you are dealing in situations where people may not be as comfortable or well in how they are communicating. So it's important that you have confident language skills. It's also important for you as a nurse so that you feel comfortable in a health setting, that your English skills are, have been assessed at a level that gives clarity around how strong your communication skills will be.
All right. I just have a follow-up question actually to this question number 3. So for MIT, what is the band or score band that you require in order for the applicant to get accepted in the CAP program?
Are you comfortable to answer that question, Laura?
Yep, I can take that one. So we require academic IELTS score 7.0 in all bands, or OET 350 all bands or above. Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, okay, Lauren, thank you for answering that question. So is it only IELTS and OET that is accepted, nothing else? So just those two?
Yes,
okay,
yes, correct.
Awesome. All right, thank you, Lauren. So I'll now proceed to question number 4. So for question number 4, what are the clinical placement looks like? So what does the clinical placement looks like? How much time does a student spend in a clinical setting? Carrie?
I think it's also part of another question is how do we organize the program? So what we look at is we start off with the theory component. So there's 6 weeks of theory, starting off with an online start to the program with it's lecturer directed and lecturer supported, and then we bring you on to campus for 4 weeks of theory. Both Lauren and I have used as our backdrop a photograph of our campus in Manukau, which is where our nursing school is housed, and it's where we teach our students for the CAP program. So I think it's probably 18 months ago, there was a quite significant investment in making sure that we had a really modern and up-to-date clinical setting on our campus. So we balance that also against the clinical settings that we use in the hospitals and the different health centres. But in summary, students would be required to complete 240 hours of clinical placement, and that happens in the final 6 weeks of the program. We have full-time team members who work on finding clinical placements across the city in a range of settings. We have a very strong relationship with the District Health Board. The District Health Board that we work with is the largest in New Zealand, and certainly in our part of the city, we would have probably the most, one of the widest clinical settings in the country. So there are a number of opportunities. We do get asked if it is possible for us to find a specific clinical setting for students. What we would always say is let us know as much as you can about your skill set and your background, and the clinical team will do what they can. If we can, then obviously that's what we like to do. If it's not possible, then we'll work with you on finding what we hope will be the best clinical setting for you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Carrie. I will now proceed to question number 5. All right. So what are they assessing in the state exam or on the CAP program? What do they assess? Yeah.
So they look at a range of areas. So some of those will be covered under different subjects. So those will be professional practice. So they will be looking at not only your nursing knowledge, but also your practice skills in a clinical setting. They also look at your communication skills in a team. That will also come back not just to say oral communication, verbal communication, it will also be your written communication, how you're writing up notes, how you're presenting your feedback on a patient, your interaction with patients. So they're really wanting to look at you in that practice setting. So it's really a combination of your professional skills and also your practice skills. They talk about interpersonal relationships. That's really important for us as a health system, how you manage your relationships in the clinical setting with other nurses, but importantly, how you manage those with patients. So there's a whole range of things that are covered. Now, these would be the same for our own local nurses. Every nurse has to sit a state exam, whether you're doing a CAP program or you've done the full 3 years. It's not enough just to pass the degree. It's really important that they see how you put what you have learnt into practice.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Carrie. I will quickly now proceed to question number 6. So what are the expectations of the patients or clinical providers from our CAP students? Yeah.
We've had a very, good response from clinical providers that, they are very confident in the work that MIT does around that clinical placement. So it's one of the reasons why we are quite careful in terms of, for instance, the IELTS and other parts of our assessment process. We have a really strong focus around immunisation, not just for COVID, but for a range of other areas, because we work with, as I say, in Auckland, obviously we are New Zealand's largest city, so we have, I think, the widest range of clinical settings in the country. And the clinical providers want to be assured that you come in not with that, only with that good clinical knowledge, but also a level of confidence so that you can work alongside other teams. With patients, there's that need to balance being obviously respectful alongside being confident and able to, guide patients through their care. But that's what most of our nurses that come into this program are already highly skilled. So it's not really a matter of us teaching people from the beginning. It's just helping them to understand the expectations in the clinical setting.
Okay, thank you. It's really very nice to hear those answers from you. It helps the viewers get more information and understand how the CAP program really looks like. So thank you so much for that, Carrie. I will now proceed to the last question for this Q&A session with MIT. So what are the outcomes like for MIT students, specifically for success at state exam and employment outcomes as well?
I can't give you the actual percentage. I know that there are a number of schools who will be able to say to you they've got 100% on the state exam. I know that we sit certainly in the high 90s, but MIT is one of the, can we say we are a premier teaching centre for nursing, and I do think it is also its location and it's the range of clinical settings that we have available to us. It's also that you'll find with institutes of technology, our role really is around doing what our cities and our communities need. So it's really important to us that our programs are responsive. So even now, our students have been very involved where they can be in terms of supporting what's happening with COVID. So where they can go in and help, we've had our students and our teams, we will be constantly looking at ways that we can respond to the different situations that we come across. So both in terms of the state exam and certainly in terms of employment outcomes, our students have very, very good profiles.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, Carrie. So is there anything that you would like to add on, Lauren, before we proceed to the next part of the webinar?
I think Carrie has covered all the important notes, so all good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Lauren. So to our attendees who have stayed up to this stage, I would like to thank you, and thank you, Lauren and Carrie, for having this Q&A session with us. So now I will now go actually to another Q&A portion, which is actually the live Q&A part, I think, which most of the attendees are waiting for, because this is the time for you to now type the questions on the question and answer box, and we will pick them one by one and answer them. So it will be Vandana, Lauren, and Carrie who will be answering your questions. So I will be picking them one at a time and ask it to them. So let's see. Oh, we have quite a few questions to do. So I will not keep them waiting. Okay. So to start off, so I think we have covered it, what score is expected in the language test for CAP program. So would you like to just repeat that quickly again, Lauren, just for our viewers to hear that again? Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, sure. So we accept IELTS and OET at the moment. IELTS score of 7.0 in all bands minimum, or OET 350 in all bands minimum. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Lauren. And our next question is, so if our attendee is a Bachelor of Nursing diploma holder and they have 4 years of working experience as a registered nurse in their home country, will they be qualified for a CAP program? Lauren or Carrie? Yeah.
Carrie, did you want to?
No problem. My understanding would be no, because of course what we probably should have started by saying is that the assessment for this is done first and foremost by Nursing Council. So the criteria for entry in terms of your clinical knowledge or your academic knowledge is decided by the Nursing Council. So I believe you have to have a bachelor's degree.
Okay, so all right, thank you so much for that. So I have one question here, and they're asking if PTE is accepted for the CAP program. So I'll just repeat the one that Lauren said a while ago. So it's only IELTS and OET that is accepted for the CAP program. Okay, PTE unfortunately is not included on that list. Okay, next I'll quickly go to okay, so she's a registered nurse in Indonesia. So is there a possibility that an Indonesian nurse work in New Zealand as well? Who will be able to answer that? So Vandana or Carrie?
I can take that. So the CAP
Mhm.
program gives the opportunity for overseas qualified and registered nurses to come to New Zealand and move towards the registration process. So it doesn't discriminate countries. So the overseas qualified and registered nurse could be qualified and registered in any of those countries. So that's all acceptable. Yeah. If you're in
Okay.
Indonesia, you've done your bachelor's of nursing, you have 2 years of nursing experience, and you are a registered nurse working in Indonesia, then you are ticking all the boxes for the decision letter with the nursing council. And that is one of the prerequisites for an institute to issue you a CAP offer. So anything that I've missed, Carrie or Lauren, feel free to add on, please.
Sorry,
Okay.
I'm a bit clumsy with Zoom. So sometimes I go and click on the icon on my photo. So if you see me hitting something, yeah, it's my age. So please excuse me. That's my excuse anyway. As again, I think the decision comes through Nursing Council. So a good idea is to maybe just check out their website and just see what arrangements they have. They do recognise a number of countries. So we would be very pleased to have someone from Indonesia join our program. So you would be very welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Carrie. So another question we have is, how long does the CAP program last? So what is the duration? For how many weeks is the CAP program?
I can take that one. It's
Yeah,
12 weeks
sure, Lauren.
program. It's 12
It's
weeks program. So the first weeks will be theory part and the rest of the component will be clinical placement part. Thank you.
okay. All right, Lauren. So just to clarify that one also. So it's just 1 week for the lecture, 1 week for lecture and all that. And then they will automatically go to clinicals or practicals.
Oh, it's first 6 weeks. First 6 weeks
first
will be the
6 weeks.
yeah.
Okay.
will be the
Okay,
theory.
sorry.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
first
all
6
right.
weeks will be the theory. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you so much. So we have one question here that is there any age limit to apply for the CAP program?
Not for us. I think it comes down to if you're currently practicing. Or for us, it's often is someone still actively involved in nursing, but we don't set an age limit. We have a number of people. In fact, we're actively, as a nation, trying to encourage people back into nursing. The demand for nursing has gone to a very critical level. So you'd be welcome again to apply.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Carrie, for that. Any additions to that, Lauren, or you're good?
Oh, I think Carrie covered everything. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, all right. Let me quickly scan through the other questions. Okay, so what are the main requirements to be able to apply for the CAP program? A Sri Lankan nurse asking. So what are the main requirements to apply for the CAP program? Lauren, Carrie?
I was doing it again, clicking the icon.
No problem.
No worries.
Lauren can help me, I hope, on this. But if you're talking about what are the documents that we need for admission, so the first step for us would be that you have the letter from Nursing Council, the language certificate. There'll be a range of immunisation requirements. There will also be, we will ask, I believe, Lauren, come in and we'd ask for references.
So usually we would look at the academic requirements, but like Carrie mentioned, we will first look at the Nursing Council approval letter. Also, we will look at the comprehensive CV, so it will be helpful for our clinical coordinator to match students' needs. And there also reference, immune status. Yeah, I think that's it for me. Did you want to add anything else, Carrie?
No, do people have any questions about the immunisation requirements that we have?
Yes.
Yeah,
that was the next. That was the next question I was gonna ask. So, which health and immunization records are we requiring for this CAP applicants? Yeah,
I'm happy to take that one as well. So at the moment we require several serological immune status. We it needs to be covered hepatitis B, measles, mumps, rubella, varicella, chickenpox, or quantiferin gold tests for the TB. And also we require 2 COVID vaccination certificates or cards.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Lauren. So another question is, how long does it take to get a decision letter from Nursing Council New Zealand? I think Vandana maybe can answer that question.
Okay, so really time frame depends on the workload that they would have. So 2 months to 4-5 months, it could take any of those time frames, but the But the key here is to make sure that you submit a decision ready kind of a request and application. So there's not too much of a to and fro asking for information, which at times delays the process. So yeah, if you're aware what would be needed, give everything in one go, the processing time could be reduced.
All right. Thank you, Vandana. And also just a follow up to that question, if they already have the nursing council decision decision letter, then how long will it take for them to get a CAP offer letter?
Okay, so we are very like methodical in our application. So Carrie and Lauren, please convey that if we are, because we would know what they need. So we'll kind of submit your application with all the required documents so they can process it quickly. So as an education provider, MIT would need all those documents before they could issue the offer letter. So if we kind of give them everything in the required format that they need, then the things are quicker. So Carrie, Lauren, if you could kind of give your time frames once a completed application is received.
But I would like to endorse that the quality of the applications we get from immigration advisors is very high, and that again is important for us because it's a complex qualification to apply for, probably one of the more complex that we offer. Lauren, as the leader for CAP, has been doing a lot of work with our nursing school around streamlining our process. We've set some time frames around that. I think we'd be looking at being able to get decisions back in most cases within the week. Would that be right, Lauren?
Yes. So once we have all the information, I would say within a week will be the time frame.
Yeah. We would love to say to you less. That's obviously what we would like, because we think that's important to get you that certainty. But we have to respect the workload of the people that are running the program. So at this stage, it's been agreed as a week. And obviously, as the program settles, then we can hope to maybe bring that down.
And Carrie, I'll just like to add on, that's an excellent time frame. So I can vouch for it because our offers are very quickly generated and completed, and there could be months and months of wait time when clients approach us and they try and do the applications other places on their own. So the time frame that you've mentioned, 1 week, is probably one of the best ones. So I know the amount of time it goes on your end on processing these applications. So it's not any course, or it's not any program offer that you have to issue. So definitely there's a lot of work back end which has to be completed before an offer could be given to a registered nurse overseas.
No, they're certainly complex. And of course, what's really important for us is that we keep those strong relationships with our clinical providers. So the more time we take to make sure that we give students a good opportunity, then the better it is when our clinical placements come through. And so far, because that's always been a challenge in Auckland, is securing those strong clinical placements. And we've been very pleased at how the school's been able to respond to that. So thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. So Vandana, one of the questions here from our attendees that do they need to apply for nursing council by themselves, or can we assess them with this process as well?
So definitely we can assist. So if you have already applied, if you want to apply, you can. But if you need our assistance, definitely this is one of the assistance that we provide, because time is it's very crucial, especially now that the nurses would like to come before July 2022 and get this opportunity to also apply for residence. So in this case, it's very important that you get your decisions quicker. So happy to help. We do provide all the information, advice, and would be happy to assist if that's required.
All right. Thank you, Vandana, for answering that question. So another question I have will be, I think, for Lauren and Carrie. So how much is the CAP program? How much does the CAP program in MIT cost?
Good question.
The
Sorry,
thing-
I just
Yeah.
needed.
No
We're
worries
both
at all,
looking at
Laurie.
each other.
That's totally fine. Yeah. So will we be able to tell the attendees that how much does the CAP program cost at MIT?
Yeah, I think 2022, the tuition fee will be 10,450 New Zealand dollar approximately.
Okay, so that's I'll just repeat that for all the attendees. So it's for 2022 intakes. So it's 10,440
50.
20 50.
Oh,
Okay,
sorry,
10
50. Yeah.
Okay, 10,450 New Zealand dollars for that's already for the whole CAP program. It's like from start to finish. Okay, so to our viewers, it's 10,450, and that will take effect for 2022 intakes. Okay, thank you, Lauren, for answering that question. So I think this one will be for Vandana, because one of the attendees is asking approximately for the funds preparation. So will we be able to provide an approximate amount needed in order for them to spend needed to show or spend before they finish the program and until they get a job, of course, for after finishing the CAP program? Any
Sure.
estimates or yeah,
Yeah.
thank you,
So
Vandana.
they should have enough funds to pay for the tuition fees for the school. So the CAP fees already Lauren has conveyed. You should have the immigration instructions require the applicant coming here on a critical purpose visitor visa or a visitor visa to have enough funds to cater for the living cost for that duration. So $1,000 every month for every applicant. So if you're coming alone and you're getting a 6 months visa, then 6,000 for your 6 months living cost plus enough money for your outward travel to buy your air tickets as well. So if there are 2 applicants, again $1,000 for each applicant. That's what the amount you should have. That's what the immigration instructions require. Plus the outward
Okay.
travel, enough money to buy your tickets. Now with the COVID from Feb, this requirement would go. But if you are arriving before that, then you should have enough funds to pay for your MIQ facility as well. So this requirement would probably go after 13th of February 2022.
All right, thank you, Vandana. So another question I think will be addressed for you. So are they allowed to work while doing the CAP program?
Okay, so no, the applicant is not allowed to work while they're doing the CAP program. They are on a visitor visa and do not have work rights. That is the reason it is all the more important that you have enough funds so that you can concentrate on your studies and you have enough funds to cater for your living costs, to pay your rents, to pay your bills. So you can only start working when you get your job offer and you apply for your work visa and you get your work visa. That will be
Okay.
after finishing the CAP program.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Vandana. So this one, I think I may ask to Lauren and Carrie. So as a CAP student, will MIT be able to assist the students in finding a job after completing the CAP program?
We work with our careers team. So that would have been the team that we worked with when we had Vandana participate in the career event. So our careers team work with our CAP students in the same way they work with any student. So they're there to help you through the job search process. But I think it's fair to say that nursing in New Zealand is in very, very high demand. I have to be honest, we have a number of employment companies that approach us even before the course starts. So we are looking at ways that we can coordinate that. But we're also mindful that I think it's important that when students arrive in New Zealand and they can really see how valuable they are, it's good for them to have an opportunity to actually look at opportunities that suit them better. So the shorter answer is yes, we will do everything we can to assist. But I think the longer answer is that, and Himanshu and Vandana may be able to have some opinion, but the demand for nurses has been very, very strong.
Yeah, I like to
Yeah.
add on there, Kerry. I participated in one of the career fairs that MIT organized. So excellent opportunities for students to get that exposure and employers to have that platform where they could pick up those skills. So I was really impressed by the effort MIT had taken on that. So thank you for doing all that for the students. And for these nurses, I have yet to see a nurse who is qualified, registered, and without a job. In fact, these clients, these nurses that we get, they would come to us even before completing the program, saying that I've got a job offer which will start as soon as I get my registration, and can you help me with this work visa? So they already have a job offer, somebody offering them this position before they've even completed the qualification. So I have not come across a registered nurse with not having a job or struggling to find a job. It doesn't happen. New Zealand has a shortage of registered nurses. So yeah, and rest assured, if you are meeting the core requirement, complete the course, get the registration, job will not be a problem. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Thank you so much, Vandana. So to our attendees, I would like to personally thank you again for staying up to this stage. I hope we were able to answer more than half of the questions that we have had, but we would love to answer your questions. So please get in touch with us. So with any assistance that you will need or any clarifications or questions that you want to ask, please get in touch with us by emailing us at contact@nzimmigration.info. Again, that's contact@nzimmigration.info. And I would also like to thank you, Lauren Lee and Kerry Clark, for joining us in today's webinar. It has been a pleasure having you today and, showing or telling the attendees that about MIT CAP program. So any final message, Lauren and Kerry, to our viewers before we end today's webinar?
Just to say thank you. Thank you for taking the time out of your day and giving us the opportunity to talk to you. Thank you for your interest in maybe considering New Zealand as a study option for you. We're always grateful to have people come and join us in our country, and we love to hear about your experiences that you bring with you. So, and also a huge thank you to Vandana and Himanshu, as always. It's an excellent event, so we're grateful for the opportunity. Thank you, Leah. You've done lots of work in the background to get this organised.
Thank you so much. No worries.
Thank you to Lauren. Lauren really is our mainstay in terms of the CAP program at MIT.
Thank you so much. And in case, Leah, you could pass a message in case we have not been able to answer any of the questions, feel free to send us a mail on contact@nzimmigration.info, and we will endeavor to answer it by early next week. So please don't hesitate to shoot questions. It would be an honor to answer them. Thank you so much, everyone.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Vandana. Any final message?
Yeah, Yes, I can see a lot of these questions that we have, and we've not been able to answer them because the time is running out, but we will get back to you with the answers on the questions that you've asked. So thank you so much for your interest, for staying with us till the end, and I'm really sorry that we could not answer all these questions, but we'll make sure that we give you the clarification that you've sought. Really thank you, Kerry and Lauren. You've been a big support, all the work that MIT does for all the students, we really appreciate. So Friday evening, taking time out to be with us on this session, we're really honored. Thank you.
We get excited. We get really excited at the opportunity. So thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Thank you.
Thank
All the
you.
best.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
So to all our viewers, please email us at contact@nzimmigration.info. We will definitely answer all of your questions once you reach to us through email. So once again, thank you for having this time with us, for sharing your precious time. And I hope you enjoyed today's webinar. And we will see you again soon on the next session. So
Yes,
stay
and
stay
apologies,
safe.
yeah,
Yep. Yeah.
and apologies for one of the speakers, Dr. Deborah, not being
Yeah.
able to come.
Yes.
Unfortunately, there were circumstances that held her up, and uh, things are very busy for a person like her out here in New Zealand. Probably in the next session, we would endeavor to invite her. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you for that,
Thank you.
Himanshu. She has apologized very deeply, because we're very lucky to have Deborah as the head of school. She's very, very supportive of CAP. She sees us as of huge importance in terms of healthcare in the city. So her apologies, but thank you.
Thank you. All the
All right.
best.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Have a good evening and have a great weekend. Thank you so much for joining us. Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.